Yeah, alrighty. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining. Hello, hello, Francisco, hello. So again, my name is Brian. I'm here from Symbaloo. For those that have joined in the past, hello and welcome back. For those that are new here, hello. Today's webinar will be all about Symbaloo PRO with Webspaces. So we will put together a little playlist starting from the very first webinar that I did, which talks about, which account type is right for you, how to register for your accounts, from the very beginning for new users all the way down to covering everything with Symbaloo PRO. So keep an eye out for that. You can also check out our Symbaloo channel here. And feel free to follow us on Instagram and Twitter if you have social media, as well as Facebook. So let's go ahead and get started. I will share my screen here. Actually, it looks like I'm already, whoops. Here we go, screen share. Looks like my screen was already being shared. Great, okay. So we're going to start with a little bit of an explanation on Symbaloo versus Symbaloo PRO. In this webinar, we'll be covering mainly Symbaloo PRO with Webspaces, what you get with Symbaloo, the Webspace URLs and methods of distribution, content organization, and stuff like that. But a little bit on Symbaloo. Symbaloo started off with the standard Webmixes and tiles that you see here. So this grid-based system, along with these little square icons called tiles. And Symbaloo is an online bookmarking tool that helps you, save, organize, and share your favorite online links and resources. And Symbaloo PRO is, you can think about it as an extension. So on the left-hand side, we have these little icons here. This is your Webspace icon. So if you have a Webspace, mine is, this is my demo one here, Mr. Brian's class, and it shows the Webmixes that I've published there. So this is an extension that can be upgraded. You can add it to any personal account, and you can always remove it later if you decide this isn't suiting your needs, or if you just retire or anything like that. So if you do upgrade, remove, or anything like that, it actually will not delete your resources because this is, again, your personal account, and these are little extensions. That's the best way that I can explain it to hopefully make sense. But let's talk about what you get with Symbaloo PRO. Let's talk about the different account types that we offer, or Webspace options. We do offer a free sponsored, meaning ad-supported Pro Webspace. This will give you a Webspace domain, which we'll cover shortly, and that will just be yourname.symbaloo.com. If you look up at the top in my address bar here, I'll go to my Webspace. You see Mr. Brian's class.symbaloo.com. Those Webspaces are the custom domains or URLs are via the paid accounts. So that would be the teacher or classroom version here, our team/library version here, going down to schools and districts as well. So you can customize for any of the paid ones. Again, the free ad-supported one will just give you yourname.symbaloo.com, but the functionality will stay the same. So let's go ahead and talk about what's included. First, we have the most important part, which is the Symbaloo PRO Webspace URL here. So the URL, again, you can customize it, or it'll be yourname.symbaloo.com. And this is the power of Symbaloo PRO. This is the link that you'll be able to share all of your resources through. So anything that you publish there will be visible on your domain, depending on what your settings are, which we'll cover how you can restrict this to login access only, or things like that. But with Symbaloo PRO, with the free version, again, you get ads. So you'll see little ad banners on the right-hand side. And with the Pro paid versions, the Webspaces there, you'll see that there are no ads. So if ads are an issue, you can go ahead and pay for Symbaloo PRO and remove those ads, as well as add some functionality to your Symbaloo accounts. So in addition to that, we have the Symbaloo PRO Webspace Dashboard, which is accessible via the navigation menu on the left-hand side. I'll break that down throughout the webinar here. And we'll go in talking about, how you can brand it, customize it, add some users and groups, and a little more. So let's go ahead and talk about the link sharing first. So if I want to break it down, the benefits of Symbaloo PRO with Webspaces is that it gives you that custom domain and the power to share unlimited webmixes through a single link. So traditional Symbaloo accounts, the personal accounts, allow you to share webmixes individually. Meaning if you are on your Symbaloo account and you click the share button, you'll only be able to share this webmix, this particular webmix here with a single link. But with Symbaloo PRO, you actually get the option to publish. As you see here, if you click the publish button, you have the option to publish as many webmixes as you'd like on that web space. And if I click view on web space, you'll see that custom domain along with any of the webmixes that I've shared to that web space. So it makes content distribution easy. It's a breeze. You know, you can set this as a student device bookmarked or the start page, and it'll immediately drop off your students there on all the resources that you want to share for them. Or share with them, I'm sorry. But again, that web space URL is one of the most important parts of Symbaloo PRO. So don't forget it when you create your account. You'll register and create your URL there. That'll be the link that you want to share primarily. So yeah, let's get into the Webspace Dashboard. So if you're on your account, I'll actually go home here. In the navigation bar on the left-hand side, you'll see when you click your Webspace icon, you'll see some of the groups you created, which we'll cover shortly. And down at the bottom, you actually have the Webspace Dashboard along with some subscription and billing access points here. So we'll click on Webspace Dashboard to access the dashboard here. Now, the dashboard is very important for you to know, especially when accessing or signing up for Symbaloo PRO Webspace. You want to know what's going on with your account. Here, you have information such as the subscription details, which will outline and kind of showcase your URL, your Webspace URL there. So you'll see mine is mrbryansclass.symbaloo.com. If you click on the teacher here where it says more info, it'll tell you what Webspace version you have. So here I'm on a teacher account, and clicking on more info will basically take you to another page that will give you a little more information on the Webspace version there. So you can kind of navigate through here and explore the different plans and find out some more. But within that subscription details section, you also have your start and expiration dates. It'll also tell you how many days you have left on your subscription and when you need to renew. So here's the expiration date. Again, why it's important to just know how to access your dashboard and where to find this stuff, because it has a whole bunch of very important details for you to utilize there. So moving on to the next section, we have the subscription renewal option or option box here where you can actually click on this little drop-down menu and it'll give you different options to upgrade your account or switch your subscription type. So for teacher accounts or classroom accounts, we actually have the $49 a year paid upfront option, which saves you a little bit of money. But you can also switch it to a monthly subscription, just like Netflix, Spotify, any of these streaming services. You could do a little monthly subscription and cancel anytime. So that's an option for you there. Then you have a little learn more button, which will take you to your subscription overview here. There's another page where you can look at different options, upgrade and other cancellation options as well, if you decide to downgrade from a paid to a premium or free account. But yeah, if you want to upgrade immediately, you can select your subscription type and then click extend subscription to follow the process there to extend and upgrade your account. Moving on, we have the manage your invoices page here. If you click on that, it'll take you to a little overview of any past and even current invoices that you may not have paid for. So if you did request to extend your account, you'll see a little pay button for any invoices that you haven't paid. You can pay this online with a credit card, and we do offer physical check payment options. However, there will be a flat $25 service handling fee for physical checks being mailed in for payment. So we definitely recommend paying online within your account, though you can still submit a PO to us at accounting@symbaloo.com if need be. Let's go on back and discuss a little bit of the logo customization that you can add to your web space. So if you see here, we have the Webspace logo option. You can upload a custom image or even create a little, create a text logo if you want to do so. but you can link to a logo or upload a logo. And what that does is that brands your web space. Up at the top left, whenever your students visit your Webspace URL, mine is mrbriansclass.symbaloo.com. They will see a little logo so they know, hey, I'm on my teacher or my school's web space. And it's just a nice little indicator. On the right side, you have the option to upload a new touch icon, and that will be here for the navigation bar. So as you see down here, Mr. Cook has a nice little Mr. Cook's Corner icon for his web space, and it just makes it nice for your students to save and follow along there. Down at the bottom, you also have an option to change your center box, the widgets within your Symbaloo Webmixes. And then again, once you make your changes, don't forget to save those settings. So let's go back to the dashboard and talk about one of the bigger features here. Here in the center, you have your web space usage overview. So this will indicate basically Symbaloo Pro with Webspaces is now, you basically pay for this account as a cellular plan. So there's certain usage for classroom accounts. It's usually works for teachers in a single classroom environment, maybe teaching 3 to 4, even 5 classes, depending on how many students access the resources. So this will show you how many page views you've received on your web space. It'll show you your plan limit cap, as well as on the right-hand side, you'll see how many days left until your plan resets for the month. So you can keep an eye on that there. And if you click on this little blue Learn More About Plan Limits link here, it'll take you to a nice descriptive support article that explains, what page views are and how they are counted. So this is good information to know. As you see, classrooms they have a cap at 5,000 page views per month. The library goes up to 15,000. Pro School 50,000, Pro District 200,000, and we can also do custom web spaces if you have a larger school, district, or organization. So there's a little more on notifications, early warnings, final warnings, and when you do exceed your plan, advertising will be enabled. So please keep an eye out for your notifications. Ensure you have the correct email connected to your Pro web space, so that way you get these emails, or the right contact. So keep an eye out for that. Very important to know. All right, let's go back down here. To the right of that, you'll see it's just a box that has different tips, tricks. This will be rotating, kind of like an alternating message. So you can take a look at that every now and then. But we'll go down here to the bottom left where you have the Webspace Users section. You can add users to your account. I'm the admin here, so it shows me as, as a Webspace user, but you can also add some staff members. If you do use a student information system, you can actually integrate per se Clever or something like that. And you can add users to your account so they can log into your web space and have additional features. But we'll cover that in the user groups and users section shortly. One of the new features, another great feature that a lot of schools had asked for was the United States Children Online Privacy Protection Act. So, complying with that. And one of the things that we've added and implemented was this child safe mode. So you can toggle that on. And what this does is if you click on that little question mark there, it'll take you again to another support article that explains the child safe mode and what it does. So it does limit certain functionality. So as you see here, it disables certain functionalities, but it does ensure full compliance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. And that is here within the United States. So for any users or any students that may need a Symbaloo account or want to access these groups, they will need to be over the age of 13 just to comply with this US Act here. But you can read more on that there. And you can disable it and go back and alter that as you need to. Down at the bottom, we have a login toggle. So this setting basically requires users to log into your Pro web space in order to access resources. So if I were to go to Mr. Brian's class, there we go, mrbriansclass.symbaloo.com. And if I were to log out, actually, if I sign out of this, Here you can currently access the resources. So as a student or a parent, if you have parent resources here, I just need to visit Mr. Bryan's class.symbaloo.com. You don't need to worry about this. It just automatically generates there, landing on the main Webmix. But if I go back to my account, I'll actually have to log in here. But if I go back to my account, and let me navigate back here and turn on the toggle, it'll basically remove the login and sign up buttons. So I'll just log back into my account to quickly show you what that looks like here. And we'll go to the Webspace icon on the left. We'll go down to the dashboard and we'll toggle on login required. And if I were to refresh this, I'm logged in, but let me log out once more. You'll see now I'm on Mr. Bryan's class.symbaloo.com, and it automatically takes me to the login page. Well, I'm logged in here, but let me sign out. This is what the students and your staff will see, or parents. So again, that Child Protection Act and the login features, these were made to ensure that we're compliant there for the schools and districts that require our tool to do so. So your students must be over the age of 13 to have an email address and their password. So just something to note. Let me head back over to my account and close out the settings here. Alrighty, back to the Webspace icon and the dashboard. The last little option that we have, the settings down at the bottom right, will be your security settings. And these are for IP blocking and web filtering. Now, the IP blocking feature here, you can go ahead and click on the little settings icon, and that'll take you to the IP blocking page. So here you can control the accessibility of your Symbaloo Pro account, and you can ensure that only IPs listed here, you can either whitelist or blacklist some IPs here, but just ensure that your Symbaloo Pro webspace is only accessible from your school or company and not outside from that IP range. So you want to make sure you toggle this on. You can activate whitelist or blacklist, enter the information, and then click save. So that's a great handy feature there if you want to contain access to your organization. The last security feature we offer is this web filtered offer. Now, just as a note, so here it states you can deny access to certain websites or categories. And this is when someone clicks a tile that links to such a website. A notification will appear that your website has been blocked. So Symbaloo does have a center box, like a search box. This web filter doesn't apply to the search there because that is powered by either Google or Yahoo, and these are only for tiles that have been added on a Webmix. So just something to note. You can toggle on the different features and restrict access to certain features there or certain sites and resources. And don't forget to click Save All. You do have a quick little check all switch there, and you can also define certain websites. So make sure to click Save when you're done. Now let's talk a little bit about user groups and users. And here on the left-hand side, user groups. This is also accessible when you visit the dashboard. Here on the left-hand side, you have a little settings list. We'll go to user groups here. And what this does is this is another way for you to kind of differentiate the resources that you share and publish with your students. This feature, another note, is meant for anyone over the age of 13, as you will need an email address to access these private groups. So usually for older students or staff that may want to access a separate set of resources that you don't want to publish publicly for your students. So just something to keep in mind. But as you see, you can create groups for different subjects, different grade levels, different use cases. And when you do create a new group, if I click on that green little button there, you can type in a new user group name. We'll just do webinar group. You can add yourself as a member if you'd like, and then add user group to the webinar group, or the user group has been added to my Webspace, I'm sorry. And if I close out of that, you'll see that the group has now appeared down at the bottom. You have these little icons on the right, which you can actually manage the users, check out the user group details, or remove this user group. But let's go to manage users, which should take us to the users page here. Here, Again, you can invite users. So just like creating a group, you want to have just a name. So let's say John is going to be joining and his email is john@gmail.com. You'll type it all in, invite the user to the web space, and he'll appear in this list. So if I go back to the user groups, let me actually show you what that looks like. Manage users. You can add a member to this group. So it looks like the users management page there, but you click add member to this group. Again, you can add as a producer or select different roles. You'll see those appear little tags at the top, but you can do that there within the group user management page. And user group details, if you click on that, basically it'll show you the group name, the group access code, which is very important. And you can upload a group image or create an image there. But this access code, why I was stating that your students or your staff needs an email account is because this is only accessible when they log into Symbaloo. So they'll visit mrbriansclass.symbaloo.com, for example. You'll share this code with them, or they can write it down. And when they're at home, let's navigate to my home. We'll go to my home with my Webmixes here. They'll navigate to the user icon at the top right. And down at the bottom, there's an option that says join group with access code. And they'll have a little box here, which they can then type in the access code and click join group. Now, this again will only be visible when they access mrbriansclass.symbaloo.com or your Webspace URL. And here on the left-hand side, they'll now have access to a little, little icon with the private groups or folders here. So I can then click on, for example, staff resources and see, for example, there's a Webmix here within the staff resources group. Or I can switch to after school, which has a math Webmix there. So again, a great way to differentiate content and separate different user groups. That is the purpose of Symbaloo users and groups. Now, one of the last things that I do want to clarify, we get a lot of questions for those that are new to Symbaloo and even Symbaloo Pro when they upgrade. I'll talk about some of the distribution methods that are offered for both Symbaloo and Symbaloo Pro. And we'll start by clarifying, let me go home here, but we'll start by clarifying the standard Webmix sharing and then talk about Webmix publishing for Pro Webspaces. So if you see at the top, you have your settings here. You have a settings button. This is for Webmix settings. You have a share button and a publish. Now, the share button is what I'm discussing here. This is the standard Webmix sharing, which was originally as part of the main sharing feature of Symbaloo prior to Symbaloo Pro with Webspaces being a thing here. So what this allows you to do is copy that individual link. So you can share one individual specific Webmix, a direct link to these resources with your students, your staff. They just need that link. If I paste it into the address bar, it'll take me to the Webmix preview page. And this again gives you an overview of the Webmix with the resources. You have some recommended Webmixes down at the bottom. And at the far right, you'll see a little overview, either with a description of the Webmix if the creator, such as myself, has added any, some keywords. This is to help the discoverability within the Webmix gallery if you're searching, which I'll show you shortly. And down at the bottom, you'll just have add this Webmix. Unless you're logged into your account and have access to this as an admin, you'll see this little edit public details button there. But you can add these Webmixes to your account. For example, if you received a Webmix link from a colleague or a friend. But that is what the individual and standard Webmix sharing method looks like. Now, with Symbaloo Pro Webspaces, you have this little publish button now. So again, remember, you'll see at the top, we have symbaloo.com, which tells you that you are on my Symbaloo. Your home page, you'll see my Webmixes here up at the top, and then your Webspace is down here, either below Simon if you've connected learning paths, or you can connect multiple Webspaces to either follow or create to manage different classes or schools. So Webmix publishing. If we click on the publish button at the top, you have this little toggle. So I just turned that off, meaning it's not published to my web space. So let me open up another incognito tab. This might be helpful. We'll do mrbriansclass.symbaloo.com. Let me close out this little window. Here we go. So we have a little incognito, a private tab. Actually looks like it's logged in, but let me sign out. I'll re-sign in. Still have the login settings. So let me access that real quick. And what this does again is you'll then choose which webmixes you want to have publicly available on your web space. So I'll come back here, disable the login. I'll disable this child safe feature for now as well, just so that we don't have any restrictions. But so we have school resources, classroom webmix, and AP bio, right? Up at the top, you have a little indicator to show you whether you've published it or not. I'll unpublish that, and I'll just leave the classroom webmix published. So once you publish, or if you unpublish anything, you'll click space and it'll take you to the web space showing you the web mixes that you've published. Again, this is publicly available via that custom or the Webspace URL, unless you toggle on that setting to only allow those that log in, or if you add the compliant features there. You'll need to log in first. Otherwise, again, these are publicly visible and to anyone that visits that URL. So I've only published the classroom webmix there to the web space. And if I go back to my webmixes and say, hey, I actually want to publish my school resources as well, I can go ahead and do so, click publish, and then toggle this on. But I do want you to note that before you publish anything that has not been published to your web space, such as the only ones that I have here that I haven't published are AP bio and school resources. Now, these are private only to you as an admin because you have not yet published them publicly. So again, we went to the web space. If I click on my web space icon, it'll actually show me what web mixes I've published publicly here, as well as the different groups and resources that I've published there. So if I do want to publish the school resources, I'll go ahead and do publish, toggle this on, and that means it's now published to my web space. You can choose any other web spaces that you're managing to publish that there. Or there's one more feature where you can click here, which is the Advanced Publishing Manager. And now this is a new feature to Symbaloo PRO with Webspaces, which connects to your Webmix menu as well as your Webspace menu here. And it gives you a little overview of what happens or what you can do here. So you can publish to your web space, republish if you want to push out any new changes, and you can unpublish or remove a webmix from your web space. So to make this easy, right now, we have my web space. We have the classroom and school resources webmixes that are published. So let's say I want to also publish the AP bio. This is a very nice and easy way to do so. And I can choose where I want to place it. Webspaces will show the web mixes from left to right, as you see up at the top. So from top to bottom will appear left to right. So go ahead and choose your order there. And you'll see these little republish or refresh icons. These are, for example, if you make any changes to your web mixes, such as adding a tile or reorganizing your tiles, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you republish these. So that way you push out those changes to your web mix. That way your students will see those changes and it'll let you know down here, hey, published to Webspace successfully. So now you've pushed out these updates. I needed to update that in my after school group. And now everything is good to go. And again, if you want to unpublish a webmix, you can either click the button down here or simply grab a webmix and drag it outside of the column there, and it'll be gone. Same thing with your web space. So let's remove the AP bio, boom, gone. And that is the Advanced Publishing Manager for Symbaloo, one of the easier ways to manage what you're publishing to that web space there. And lastly, I do want to mention, if you do need any assistance or run into any trouble, go ahead and visit us at enhelp.symbaloo.com. We have some helpful articles, hey, how do I change and update my account password, so forth. And you can also view a bunch more support articles here, and you can submit a ticket if you do want to speak to an agent. So visit us at enhelp.symbaloo.com for further assistance. And if you have any questions, or you can email us directly at feedbackus@symbaloo.com. So that will actually conclude today's webinar. For those that are still here, thank you again for your time and for joining us. All of these webinars will be put within a nice little playlist on YouTube for you to access at a later date. We've also put together a slide deck. There's a very comprehensive slide deck that covers everything we've discussed in the webinars. Again, starting from account registration down to the nitty-gritty of Symbaloo PRO, which may be helpful, So keep an eye out for that. If you register for these webinars, you'll be receiving an email with access to the slide decks, the webinar replay links, the playlist on YouTube, and more. So thank you all for joining. And if you do have any questions, let's actually go ahead and go through the chat here. But it doesn't seem like we have any questions. So you can always reach out to us at a later time. You can visit us at en.help.symbaloo.com or email us at feedbackus@symbaloo.com. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for your time. And yeah, we will talk soon.